Vols are back.
Yeah, they had us the first half, I'm not going to lie.
Oh, could be Wayne!
I think I got my swagger back. Oh!
I love it, baby!
Them orange britches. Something about them orange britches.
Tennessee wins! Brought by Tennessee, Jawan Jennings. Jennings makes the catch.
Ball hit high in the air into right field. Going back is Sayre. And Tennessee can say hello, win column. A grand slam in the bottom of the ninth. You can't draw it up any better.
We just won a basketball game, and we're very happy right now. I made up my mind. I don't expect to ever look back. I'm going to stay at the University of Tennessee.
Reddit did to do, and welcome into More Important Issues. It is Thursday, January 12th. I did mess up the title, but it is Thursday, January 12th. We're not taking you back in time. I got to get your thoughts on time traveling sometime. We're not going to get into this early in the show. Maybe after 9:30, we'll start talking about it, but I do got to get your thoughts sometime. We're talking about the transfer portal. Some guys do, I guess, try to go back in time and change their decisions in that. So
I just love the guys that have entered it like 8 times. Like, it's awesome.
I don't. Yes, I have a lot of questions about that, actually.
Just each season, you're like, hey, this ain't from that. Like, it's just a merry-go-round at that point.
Yeah, I don't think we can really get into that, although tonight, but I do have I have a lot of questions. We're going to talk about the polls and how they ended. I thought about this on my. I had to drive to Cleveland tonight. And I pieced together some thoughts that I originally didn't have. So hopefully I can get them all straightened out because I did think about that while driving. 11 straight against Vandy. When they said that last night or Tuesday night, excuse me. Honestly, I fact checked it. That just it doesn't feel like it didn't feel like 10 straight.
You called cap?
I did definitely. I did. But it does feel good to do that. It does show which Vandy's been down from where they were for like, I mean, it's not like they've had a super historic past, but where they were before Tennessee got like Bruce Pearl, they were a much better basketball team. So it's not, they definitely haven't been that, but I do think it shows what Rick Barnes has done for this program personally.
Yeah, I think Tennessee being good, the timelines kind of match up where Vanderbilt's just been piss poor.
Right. Yeah, for sure.
So take full credit for it. So congratulations, Tennessee. You're the reason why Vanderbilt is that bad.
And I enjoyed them being that bad. So thank you again.
Yeah.
We're also going to talk about the Kentucky game. But before that, we are going to talk about good friend of the pod, our man. He's number 5 in your programs, number 1 in your hearts. I don't think that's ever been true before now. And that's Chris Lofton. And I'm so excited. This is the first jersey retirement we've gotten for someone that we grew up with, like that we actually experienced. Because we got Peyton Manning and was at 06 South Carolina, but we never really got to see him play in Tennessee that we remember. So this is the first time. So like this is kind of a getting old moment for me, but I'm also really excited because he probably did deserve it a long time ago. I'll Bob Kessling his last name, but the SID Tom, you guys know him, great guy. He actually mentioned that this probably would have happened a long time ago, but they wanted him here for it, obviously, and he just finished his playing career, and so timing works out. So I'm really excited. Like I'm obviously excited for the Kentucky game, but I'm fired up because I know he's going to get a super warm welcome back in Knoxville, and he's going to be the only one in the rafter for a time being while they rearrange it. Ray Mears, Pat Summit, John Ward, and other retired jerseys. So he'll be the only one for a while. And I honestly think that's really cool. And that should kind of become a tradition that you get like X amount of games or that whole season to yourself in the rafters or in Neyland. That just seems like a really cool thing that may be on purpose, but it also may be on accident. That should become a tradition.
Yeah, I think that's cool. To be there by yourself, you are the program at that point. So, yeah, it's awesome to see, and it's really cool for us because we've had him on the show. We also got to talk to him at a tailgate for the Missouri football game. That was really cool. He liked my jacket. So,
Well, I told Landon I would have given it to him. He complimented it. I would have taken it off and handed it to him.
Stargazing. Yeah. Yeah, you asked me you didn't give it to him? It's kind of cold.
What are you going to do? It's Chris Lofton.
If he would have asked for it, I would have had to give it to him.
For sure. And I think it's hard sometimes because some of your favorite players don't seem like good people. Chris Lofton seems like one of the most genuinely good guys in the world. I mean, we've obviously talked to him and interacted with him and had him on the show, and he's been really good to us. I don't know him personally. I feel like I should always, like I don't, but we have gotten to know him outside of his basketball career, and he's just always been super nice to us. To give us the time and come on the show, that is the coolest thing ever, and I will forever appreciate him for that. And congratulations to him. We talked to him about getting him on the show before this, but it did kind of sneak up on us. If we're just being honest. So we will try to get him on before the end of the basketball season and discuss what happens tomorrow afternoon. So congratulations again, Chris. I can't believe we didn't do it already. Just Chris Lofton. He deserves a more important issue. Standing ovation. Number 5. It seems like Zakai Ziegler is going to be the last number 5 too, which I don't hate it, but it would have been cool to see that number get earned by somebody.
Yeah. I mean, maybe that is the new tradition.
It'd be cool. I would not mind it.
I'm sure he wouldn't mind it either. But
right.
yeah, it's awesome because like he was a player that we grew. Like it's not some like historic person that you hear. Like I mean, we hear Johnny Majors and we know how good he was, but like we never got to like witness him playing. Even
right.
Peyton Manning here, like when he graduated, we were 2 years old. So it's really good. Just everybody had a Chris Lofton jersey. That's probably like if you polled everybody that has a Twitter, I guess that age, everybody would be like, who's your favorite Vol basketball player of all time? I would say 90% say Chris Lofton.
Oh, so many Chris Loftons. You talked about his jersey too. I used to, like every child, go out in the driveway, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and shoot the final. And I would always put on my Chris Lofton jersey for it. Yeah. Probably the wrong shade of orange, but it was a number 5.
Oh yeah, it's probably a starter jersey.
Probably.
And not probably when starter was cool either. Now it's cool. Now it's hard to find, but
yeah, I should have kept all my starter jackets. I had some sweet ones.
Yeah.
Probably got hated on at BKU, but we'll also get into some questions if you have them. Drop in the chat, and we'll get to another segment too there at the end. Before we jump into the show as a whole, I do want to mention our good friends, Underdog. Underdog is Knoxville's best sports collectibles store with a wide selection of UT cards, autographs, and memorabilia. Whether you're looking for a Peyton Manning autographed helmet or the most recent Topps baseball card release, you'll find it at Underdog. The shop is owned by UT graduates and proudly supports UT sports by hosting NIL events throughout the year. Speaking of that, Maui Ahuna is going to be there Saturday. It's always a good day to go to Underdog, but Saturday, you're going to be on campus anyways for Kentucky. Buy that ticket. $9 get you an autograph from Maui Ahuna. Is it too early to call him an All-American? Like, he's going to be an All-American.
He's preseason, so
right, but like he's going to be an All-American, that legitimate All-American at Tennessee. Top draft pick potential. Like, go get that autograph. Go to
have your picture made with him. You don't just get an autograph. You get to have your picture made with him. It's a really cool atmosphere there. So go check that out before the game on Saturday.
Yep. Shout out to Underdog. Stop by the University Commons Shopping Center next to Publix and Domino's to check them out. They're open 6 days a week. They also do a live YouTube show 3 nights per week, as well as some unboxings. Do they call them in card collectibles? Unboxings?
Yeah, I think so.
Remember, always bet on the
card
Underdog.
Breaks. Is that what they are? Card breaks?
That sounds right. Card breaks. So make sure you check them out on all their social media. And remember, always bet on the Underdog. One more time for Underdog Collectibles. Shout out to them. Maui Ahuna, they're this Saturday. This is going to become an ovation show. Let's get right into some UT football before we do get to the exciting stuff for the weekend. The transfer portal has been good to Tennessee. I like the need addressing, and a lot of people was going into Josh Heupel's not getting these, the guys in the portal he needs to get, and you addressed a ton of needs, and you got, and I think even one guy you got just kind of as a sprinkle on top.
Yeah, I mean, like they've done a really good job of kind of replacing people they lost in the transfer portal. And I think that's what the transfer portal should be used for. I don't think you can rebuild a whole entire roster with it. I think it can help you, build up a program if you're down. Like, I mean, Josh Heupel, that's a perfect example. Like, he did a really good job in the transfer portal to kind of build that. And it wasn't even really just him. Jeremy Pruitt did have a hand in bringing Hendon Hooker here. But it helps mask a little bit of the deficiencies within your roster.
Definitely like a jolt. You get a jolt to, like you said, it's not a program builder, but a jump start.
I mean, look at the teams who Alabama hit on Jahmyr Gibbs. But you can't build your roster on the transfer portal. I mean, look at Michigan State last year.
A lot of excitement around that too, with all the transfers.
Yeah, I mean, Ole Miss. I think a quarterback, that's something I feel like it's going to be fine. You can get a good quarterback within the transfer portal and it work out. But I think after that, it's kind of there's a reason why those guys are in the portal. So you kind of have to weed through that a little bit and not just take a guy that was a 5-star out of high school.
Yeah, I think there's definitely not every guy is going to work out because it's not he's a transfer and he played at Oregon. That doesn't make it a guarantee that this guy's going to work. Because like you said, there's probably a reason that they're leaving the school, and it's not always. Jahmyr Gibbs, I think, is a great example of a guy who he was good at Georgia Tech, and he just needed to go somewhere else. He was going to be more successful somewhere else. There's not a ton of Jahmyr Gibbs out there. I mean, Hendon Hooker ended up working out. That's one that I think on the surface, before you see it work out, you're going, what are we doing?
Yeah.
I mean, if we're just being honest, if you're saying you knew Hendon Hooker was a star-studded dude before this Heisman candidate, you're a liar. You're just a liar.
If you've heard this story I told, there was one guy that I met in Myrtle Beach that said Hendon Hooker is a stud, and he's the best quarterback on that roster. And
Virginia Tech
laugh
fan.
in his face.
He
was a Virginia Tech fan. He was, but he wasn't even starting at Virginia Tech. So
right.
Yeah, he was one guy that I'll always say he knew.
And if you did,
or he was just really lucky.
Yeah, right. And if you did say Tennessee needed him, that is 100% true, and I don't deny that fact. But yeah, no one could have predicted his Heisman candidacy.
Yeah, but what a Monday! I mean, everything happens on a Monday. We record on Sunday, and then everything happens on Monday, so we have to wait till Thursday to talk about it. But Tennessee did land 3 guys on Monday, right before that window kind of closes within the transfer portal. So Oregon wide receiver Dante Thornton. Wow.
I like the speed. I like the size.
I mean, yeah, he's 6'4", 6'5", and he can fly. I mean, I just don't understand why I guess that's a reason why he entered the transfer portal. He only had a little over 300 yards and a touchdown at Oregon.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how much he played in that Georgia game, but I know they could have used some speed in that Georgia game.
Yeah, he was we can kind of pick on him, whatever, and say, I think that's a guy that a lot of people are probably looking at going, there's a reason he transferred. But Oregon's it's hard to be star-studded wide receiver when your team's not good. And Bo Nix, he had a decent season in the sense that he had some good games, but he was not consistent throughout the year.
Yeah, not any big games.
Certainly not that.
Big game Bo. But yeah, I think that, I was talking about how they replace guys. I mean, losing Jalen Hyatt was a huge loss, but you get a guy in here that can run, that can play inside, play outside. I think that just helps that wide receiver room. And not only lost Hyatt, you lost Cedric Tillman too, who I know didn't have a huge impact this season. Thank you, Akron. We're going to get to you in a second, Joe Moorhead. But yeah, I think this is a good get and a guy that they coveted out of the portal. I know there was bigger names in the portal, but it seemed like this was a guy that they were on from the get-go and landed him. Arizona State defensive lineman Omar Norman Lott.
Oh, real quick before you move on from Dante Thornton, that's the guy that I mentioned as maybe a sprinkle on top. Wide receiver room I don't see as a big need. You mentioned Cedric Tillman being out most of the year. Squirrel White seemed to fit seamlessly in this offense. And then Ramel Keaton seemed to really step up his game and fit seamlessly with that guy out. Tennessee's going to see 3 wide receivers most of the season. I don't think this wide receiver was a big need, but I think it is a nice get for the reasons you mentioned. And I see this one as kind of just toppings.
Yeah. Well, that next guy was always Walker Merrill. He entered the transfer portal. Mm-hmm. I think he's going to Wake Forest. I think that's where he –
I didn't – possibly.
I think that happened. I think he made that decision today. But yeah, he was always that next guy.
Did Sam Hartman return? Did he decide to return?
No, he's going to Notre Dame.
That's right. Who is their quarterback? They have a freshman?
I don't know who it is.
Because Sam Hartman was hurt for most of the year, and he was.
Well, Sam Hartman played in the bowl game. So I don't know. I don't know who their next quarterback is.
Yeah.
But yeah, so they need another like guy. I know Chaz Nimrod, Caleb Webb, they like those, but I mean, you don't really know what those guys kind of turn into as freshmen. Didn't have hardly any playing time this year. And Ramel Keaton, he was that next guy, but he was basically a starter because Cedric Tillman went down. So I think you need depth just in case. But I think Dante Thornton, with the speed he has, he's going to flourish in this offense.
Yeah, I think so too. I agree with that. If my road to glory on NCAA 14 is any future look, Chaz Nimrod's the real deal. Thrown a lot of touchdowns. Rowdy Beers has thrown a ton of touchdowns to Chaz Nimrod.
I like that.
And Squirrel White, by the way. That's a given.
Yeah, for sure. It's hard not to throw to Squirrel, like a guy named Squirrel. It's hard not to.
No, for sure.
But yeah, Arizona State defensive lineman Omar Norman Lott. I think he's just a kind of added depth piece there. Didn't have a ton of playing time. Had less than 10 tackles. Had a sack on the year, but not a lot. He was actually in the transfer portal last year and returned to Arizona State. He had that. I think when he got in the portal, he got from what I read, he had a relationship with Rodney Garner.
Yeah,
and then entered it again, and I think he kind of knew where he was going as soon as he entered. He was going to Tennessee.
Yeah, and I like this. I like his size. I mean, interior guy that big, and that interior line's played pretty well. I don't know if he can necessarily like elevate to a outside of why am I blanking on his name right now? Amari Thomas. It's not been a lot of interior guys just shine, and it's hard to shine as an interior guy. If we're just talking just looks, this is a get off the bus kind of guy.
Oh yeah,
and I think Tennessee does need. Amari's the biggest guy by a long shot. So I do think that size is needed too.
Yeah, and they play so many guys at that position too. Like if Bryson Eason and Amari Thomas are your starters, those two might not be in the game at the same time the rest of the way.
Yeah, I don't know how much I don't know where he fits in. He plays though.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. I'm interested to see kind of what that defensive line looks next year. I thought they had a really good year. No one stood out, but
right.
they did their job, and no one really ran on Tennessee.
No one stood out, but Amari Thomas. He made enough plays that you were like,
yeah,
dang.
I thought Bryson Eason played well in the bowl game too.
Yeah, I thought the whole defensive line played pretty dang good in that bowl.
Yeah, that's true. K just saw orange.
Poor guy.
The wrong shade of orange.
Wrong shade.
And then you added Miami offensive tackle John Campbell, and that's
the biggest one.
Right.
In my opinion, that's the biggest one.
You need a left tackle, and I had a Miami fan kind of message me separately and just tell me like, "Hey, he's like average. Hey, in this offense, how fast it goes, defenses get tired. So I mean, I don't think you have to be all world. Now, Darnell Wright had an amazing year.
Yeah,
but like Tennessee was the number one offense, and I think at right tackle you struggle with Mincy and Jeremiah Crawford.
Yeah.
Hopefully another year they're able to bounce back. But a guy with experience in John Campbell, I don't think he can beat that and land a guy at another Power 5 program.
No, I love this one. Like I said, I think it's the biggest get. He graded, and I hate using Pro Football Focus as grade, but they do the most of it. But as far as that goes, he graded the best on Miami's offensive line.
Oh, okay.
And he did grade about average on Tennessee's offensive line. Darnell Wright obviously rated the best.
Yeah.
So, he is average compared to Tennessee's line, but for Miami's line, he's the best guy y'all had, and he's gone.
Yep.
That NIL money wasn't that sweet.
Yeah.
Speaking of NIL, well, no, I'll wait for that.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry.
But you do lose one guy in Juwan Mitchell, and I just don't like – I thought that was kind of going to happen. Like, I mean, he was kind of the third linebacker all year, even lost some snaps, I feel like, to Salome Page. I mean, he just could never – he had high expectations coming into Tennessee. He was a leading tackler at Texas, but it just never clicked for some reason.
No, I didn't see the transfer coming. You mentioned all these guys transferring a lot. He transferred into Tennessee.
Right.
So I didn't necessarily see that being the case. I didn't know if it would work out, but that kind of
Yeah, I guess I didn't. I kind of there was a path where I thought he wouldn't be here.
Mhm.
Now whether that move on and try to get an NFL undrafted deal somewhere or transfer, either one, but I just didn't really expect him to be much of a factor. I mean, Aaron Beasley's played linebacker for 2 years, and he was Tennessee's best linebacker by a long shot this season.
Mm-hmm.
And Jeremy Banks was the next one, and then Juwan Mitchell. I mean, and it was just kind of by default. I mean, not saying he played terrible or anything like that, but it was there wasn't enough plays where you noticed him on the field.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I won't go that. I won't say anything else. Yeah.
And I think this staff likes what they have at linebacker. They like Aaron Beasley. You get Peely from BYU, a veteran guy who's played a ton of college football to kind of help grow these young guys behind them. They like Elijah Herring. He played quite a bit, especially on special teams. Caleb Perry the same way. And you got 3 freshmen coming in who I think is. I don't know if they're like the top 3 linebacking core in college football for incoming freshmen, but I think they're up there. I mean, they're solid. They play high-end football. Arian Carter was Mr. 6A, Gatorade Player of the Year.
He's good. He's good. I don't know if he's ready to play good, but he's good.
T. Lander played in a state championship. And then Jalen Smith is from Grayson. They just pump out D1 talent. So I like what Tennessee has, and the linebackers coming in, and I don't think Juwan Mitchell is a huge loss, in my opinion.
No, I don't. I agree with that. I agree.
Yep.
No huge losses in the portal, which I think is big for Tennessee. You're going to see them through the years, especially when Tennessee brings in the talent they brought in this year, and they will in the future. You'll definitely see some guys looking for greener pastures. I think it's just going to be part of college football now. But you try to limit that, and I think with the roster Tennessee has, you really couldn't afford to lose key guys, and you haven't yet, and I think that's big.
Yeah, if you don't want to lose guys, you got to have success, right? If guys aren't playing, you at least got to be winning.
Yeah, no, for sure.
If you're not winning and they're not playing, they ain't staying around. I mean, that's just how it is. But I think the culture has a huge part in, and guys, wanting to stick it out and see it through. Stories like Jalen Hyatt, Cedric Tillman, I mean, that should be all the reason to stick it out and see what happens.
And there were a ton of rumors about Jalen Hyatt going to the portal last year. Or maybe not rumors, speculation might be the better word, but there was a ton of it. So now he's Tennessee's touchdown leader at receiver. Sometimes the greener pastures are where you're standing, kids.
Right.
Is that a Bud Light lime?
I think so.
Is that what that means?
I think so.
This guy think he's a commercial? Who is this guy?
Who's this Austin White guy?
Who is this guy? Let's talk polls. Actually, I do. Have you spelled Sedona that way?
No.
Okay.
It's with an E.
Yeah, I know that. I thought maybe you texted that to him.
This guy.
This guy, get him out of here. Do they not have Kentucky podcast going right now?
I guess not. KSR they must have packed it up already.
Golly, can't get rid of these guys.
Yeah.
Let's talk polls. I mentioned I kind of changed my thinking a little bit. So I'll tell you my original thinking.
Okay.
The AP poll was a disgrace. TCU at number 2. Tennessee out of the top, it was a disgrace. Not that I think Tennessee deserved to be super high, but you're not the college football playoff. You don't have to rank them how they finish them. You get to choose who you think the better teams are, and you put it there. And there's just no way you can convince me you thought TCU was number 2 in the country after watching them get absolutely waxed on Monday night.
Correct. And let's also rewind a little bit to when Tennessee lost to Georgia by what? Was it 30-14? By 2 touchdowns? We went all the way back to 5.
Yep.
How does that happen?
Well, and I think so again, that was my original thinking. And I said the AP doesn't have to do that because they're not the college football playoff. And I thought about it and I said, I understand the college football playoff having them at number 2. You have a game to decide the winner. So by default, it goes to TCU. That was my original thinking. The more I thought about it, how do you rank Michigan, Ohio State? They didn't play a consolation game. How do you rank? Which I think those are the most important, 1 through 4 in the college football playoff ranking. Everyone should think that. That's a fact. And then how do you rank, 5 through 10? How does that get decided? Which bowl games are more important? Are you just making these rankings up? Yes, you are. So TCU shouldn't. I changed my mind. The college football playoff had no reason to put TCU at number 2 just because they finished second, because it doesn't matter. There's no 3rd and 4th. It doesn't matter.
They didn't win their conference championship. They should have lost to Michigan, but Harbaugh just gave it to them.
Well, I am not in the boat of TCU didn't deserve to be there because I don't know who desered it over them. They got waxed by.
I agree. You won the game. Like you're in. I think you deserve to be in the college football playoff. But you lost 2 of your last 3 games. How are you still number 2?
Yes, I agree with that. And also, they led, like we talk about how Michigan, like they did. If we want to look at that, Michigan should have won, but they also led Michigan the whole game. They never trailed.
Yeah.
But they shouldn't be number 2. That doesn't make them number 2.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
You don't lose like that and not go down the rankings. That's just.
Yeah. If you're going to rank Michigan and Ohio State, if you're going to try to decide them, then you should be allowed to move TCU college football playoff. The AP poll has 0 excuses. At least college football playoff can come out and go, oh, they're number 2. Like, because they came in second. At least they have that. The AP has no excuse. They're just terrible at assessing the rankings. They're awful. I mean, just abysmal. And this really, my rant, I disagree with them, but my rant has nothing to do with Tennessee being a number 6. Absolutely nothing. Whatever. It's big. I don't care. It's frustrating, but I don't care. TCU being number 2 is just irritatingly stupid.
Yeah.
I do have a bone to pick with some coaches.
The coaches poll is straight up ass. Like straight ass. Like
well,
they went into an ass store and bought all ass. Like it was ass.
Can we get an ass counter in here?
Yeah, God. What in the world? Screw Nick Saban.
Nick Saban.
That dude is
that's a whiny baby act. That's a whiny baby act.
Yeah, that's candy ass.
I have a ton of respect for what Nick Saban's done at Alabama. I think he's one of the greatest football coaches of all time. He cried about the playoff getting expanded this year. He then cried by putting his team at number 2. He's a crybaby. And I think it was Lance Leipold that put Alabama at number 2, which I found funny. I think it was him. I thought I screenshot it, but I don't have the votes anymore. So I don't know where that went. But I think it was Lance Leipold who voted Alabama at number 2.
They were the only ones. I think Nick Saban was the only one to put Alabama at number 2.
Someone said that, but I saw. Let me find it and make sure. Okay. But I swear someone else had him at number 2.
But even if that, you put Tennessee at 6th.
Butch Jones had him at 7th.
That's what I'm saying. Like the coaches that put Tennessee lower, that played Tennessee.
Oh yeah,
Joe Moorhead, Nick Saban, and Billy Napier. You put them at 6. Well, Joe Moorhead had them at 7. You lost to Tennessee. It makes your team look worse.
And I don't understand how. So we want to talk about ugly wins and good losses. I mean, you didn't just lose to Tennessee. You also lost to LSU. They're not ranked very high. And I know the Tennessee loss to South Carolina was quote unquote an ugly loss, but there's no such thing as a pretty win. There's no such thing. Yeah. So I just don't like that's Nick Saban's logic. It's dumb.
I just don't understand how are you able to have the coaches poll and not have every coach involved? I feel like every coach should be involved.
It was Dana Dimmel at UTEP who had Alabama at number 2. And he had Tennessee. He did have Tennessee at 5.
Well, Ken Wilson had Tennessee at 8.
Oh, I didn't even see this.
He's the Nevada coach. I mean, who the hell is he? Penn State is ahead of Tennessee.
At least
Penn State lost. There are only 2 games that matter all year long.
At least those guys, I'm like, all right, you have no. The other guys look like just petty.
Yeah, Dave Doran is upset.
I'm sorry. If Butch Jones, If Butch Jones was at Tennessee, he would be having a press conference about how Tennessee should have been in the top 4 after the results of the college football playoff. I promise you that.
Oh, 100%.
I promise you. So for him to put Tennessee at 7 after that, if he had beat 3 of the previous national champions, you've seen fans mention it on Twitter and Facebook and stuff. He would have said it at a press conference, and he would have lobbied for votes. And because that's the kind of person he is. He can't let his work speak for himself. He's got to speak for himself. And here he is putting down another program and coach because he's butthurt. Dude, you got paid $12 million to fetch coffee at Alabama. You can't be petty. You're not allowed to be petty. Greg Schiano, I guess, can be, but you're not allowed to be.
I mean, I just don't understand the coaches' bowl. Like these coaches can't even run a program. Why are we letting them vote on other programs? I mean, Greg Schiano 4-8, Butch Jones 3-9, Ken Wilson 2-10, Joe Moorhead 2-10. I mean, those coaches suck. They are one of the worst in their shitty conference. And why are they able to judge where Tennessee's at? Is my question.
There definitely needs to be a stricter application. Because apparently you apply for it and then they select you. There needs to be a stricter application process for this.
I mean, like Nick Saban, got to I'm surprised he didn't put Alabama at 1. I really am.
I'm a little shocked.
But he got to do that, and Josh Heupel didn't get to do the same thing. That just is stupid.
Let me give you what I would say if I was Nick Saban. We would beat Alabama if we played them. That's what I would say. You didn't play them. Prove me wrong. You can't prove me wrong. You might give me a good argument, but you can't prove me wrong.
I can't stand David Pollock, but I loved every second of him telling Nick Saban to his face that they're not the kings of college football anymore.
I think he instantly regretted that though, because he said it. He said it and then looked at Saban and was like, "No disrespect."
I mean, I can't imagine how much they paid Saban to be on that because I'm sure he was.
I can tell you
to do that
as someone who a fan of whose team has to play Alabama every year. I wouldn't say it to Nick Saban. You just gave that guy 10 more years of life.
Yeah.
He's going to coach till the day he dies.
That man loves himself so much. I would be shocked if I went to his house and his house, there's probably no walls. It's just mirrors everywhere. He just loves looking at himself.
That's Butch Jones.
It probably is. Well, Butch Jones is behind him with his head up Saban's ass.
Oatmeal cream pie ready?
There's another one.
Count it. You're dropping.
Dave Doran, that one just drives me nuts. He went 8-5 in the ACC. How in the world do you go 8-5 in the ACC with a top quarterback, and then you lose him to Kentucky? And Kentucky's ass.
Kentucky's in full meltdown mode, by the way. There's apparently rumors
Devin
now.
Leary he knew he was like, if I go to Kentucky, I can play absolutely horrible and still be a top 5 pick.
Yeah, Mark Stoops must have some good connections in the NFL. He's got scouts on speed dial.
Crap.
Yeah, but Kentucky, did you see all this with Mitch Barnhart? I've got a theory too about Kentucky. Mitch Barnhart and Cal, he won't let Cal build a new facility. He's got $30 million ready apparently. Won't let him.
Basketball school.
I think Mitch Barnhart is. I think he's trying to get Cal to leave. They can't pay his buyout. He's got a lifetime contract. Can't pay it.
No.
He's making his life hell, so he'll leave.
That's what you should do.
I'm gonna miss him whining on the sidelines. I'm gonna miss it. All right, before we get into Kentucky, we do need to talk about Chris Lofton.
I do want to mention that Joe Moorhead, we beat them by 60 points, and he put Tennessee at 6, and he tried to end our quarterback's career. He pretty much did end Cedric Tillman's.
Joe Moorhead, let me remind you, he's the guy that in a post-game presser after Ole Miss said that it was going to take a SWAT team to get him out of there. He was fired Monday.
He also got beat by Jeremy Pruitt.
He did.
And JG.
And would that have been Matt Luke's Ole Miss team before Lane Kiffin?
I don't remember. Yeah, I guess so.
I'm going to have to look that up. So that was what, 2018 when he got fired?
Yeah,
or when Joe Moorhead got fired? Who'd they lose? Because they lost that game, didn't they? Or no, they won that game. Right?
Yeah, we beat Garrett Schrader in all orange.
No, Mississippi State. Didn't they beat Ole Miss? Wasn't that the dog piss one?
Oh, yeah.
He got fired.
So, yeah.
All right, so he beat Matt Luke and got fired. I don't know if that's any better. Dang it. I didn't even think about it.
I'm sorry.
I don't know what happened to my chalk, but I will fix this. 0 days. My chalk's on the ground.
Also, I know Pat Narduzzi is one of my stupidities, but I'm a huge Pat Narduzzi fan.
Huge fan.
Putting Tennessee at 4. I mean, that's what a coach should do, right?
Is your Pat Narduzzi hate about the rule change?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know what? I know it's a dumb rule, but he's a defensive guy.
Yeah, I'm going to get into why it's stupid.
That's dumb.
Yeah.
Undeniably dumb.
I mean, he's being an old man. It's like, I get it. I get it why he hates it. Like, he lost to it, but
what are you going to do?
What it is.
All right, let's talk Chris Lofton. Like we said, one of the GOATs of Tennessee basketball, definitely of recent history. Number 5, going to hang in the rafters. I'm excited about the game day graphic dropping Saturday.
I love that it's against Kentucky too. Like that, they just set that up perfectly.
Yeah, guy from Maysville, Kentucky. No, didn't get offered by Kentucky. Not a ton of offers coming out of high school.
Yeah.
All-time SEC leader in 3-pointers. Wasn't there someone getting close there for a while? Or did someone pass him?
Vescovi has to be close, right?
Yeah, probably. I don't know. Well, I don't know because he didn't come in freshman year until January, technically. Or he might have played December against LSU. So that's some games he's missed. But yeah, anyways, he led the team at one point.
Yeah.
And all credit to his basketball career, but also just talk about what a fighter the dude is. Plays his senior season diagnosed with testicular cancer and doesn't seem like he misses a beat. And if I remember correctly, the public didn't know until after the season. Right? I don't think the team knew until like halfway through.
Yeah.
And then I don't think the public knew until his career was over. And I mean, that's insane. Like that, to not only have that struggle in just like with your body and life in general, and then to go through the grind of being a college athlete and being as successful as he was, like that's a guy that you root for, man. You root for.
Yeah. And you know, like you said earlier, he's just a genuine dude.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I mean, we've got to talk to him a couple times, and you know, it couldn't happen to a better guy.
Yeah.
And I think he loves Tennessee. He loves being around it. You know, even when we talked to him, he was like living in Kentucky at that point, but he was like trying to like get to Tennessee all that he could.
Mm-hmm.
And then him just being around the program, you know, when they made that video, like he's around the program quite a bit. He's at the VFL tailgates, so
when he was,
it's good to see like that those guys like come back.
Oh, for sure. Those are the guys you definitely still want around the program. And I think that's cool. Not just Barnes guys, but even guys like Chris Lofton who played before Barnes that come around and still work out either in the facility or with the team during the summer when they're back. And that was something Chris Lofton did when he is still playing overseas. And like you said, it could happen to a better guy. The fact that number 5 is going to hang in the rafters, and it looks like, unless something changed, Kai Ziegler is going to be the last guy to wear number 5. I think that's kind of poetic in Chris Lofton's career. Not necessarily the same type of player, but just when you're talking about a guy, fighter, gritty, undervalued, whatever you want. Like there are a lot of similarities there, and so that's going to be really cool if he is in fact the last guy to wear number 5.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. I mean, one of the best parts in that video is the guy's like, "What about me?"
Yeah, I and we talked about it actually with him at that VFL tailgate, and we either asked him about it or we just talked about Zakai wearing it and kind of brought up if he was going to be the last one, and he wasn't entirely sure. I guess they leave that up to him, so I don't know what'll happen there.
He probably doesn't care.
I don't think he cares. I love those reactions with people who are down to earth like that, who don't, he even said it. He was like, I was kind of expecting this sometime soon, but like still crazy. Guys that just thankful.
Yeah. But it has been that guy who's just like the heart and soul of your team.
Mm. Yeah, Admiral
wore
before
it.
that.
Yeah.
Did Kevin Punter wear that before Admiral? Was that who it was?
That might be right. And he was
think-
definitely, if it was, he was the heart and soul of that team too.
He wore 0.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Who wore 5? I swear.
Stokes wore 5.
Yeah, Jarnell Stokes wore 5 at one point. And talk about someone who was definitely your heart and soul of that team.
Yeah.
If you just type in Tennessee number 5, actually here's a picture of Admiral. But before that, the only 2 people to pop up are Zakiah and Chris Lofton.
Gotcha. That's all that matters.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Well, let's get into Vandy a little bit. Let's go back in time, get some Vandy talk.
Yeah, let's talk some Vandy. And we're going to Kentucky this week, so I guess this is kind of about Kentucky and Tennessee. But obviously, Kentucky loses South Carolina down or 20-point underdogs. Didn't lead the entire game. Is that correct? I don't think they ever led.
So. Yeah,
Never led. If they did, it was in the last few minutes, and South Carolina obviously got it back. Austin, you tell us. Did they ever lead? And what I was watching that game, in Tennessee and Vanderbilt are obviously tipping off right after that at midnight. I was like, man, this is really going to suck if Kentucky finds a way to win, and Tennessee just has a really, really bad game because the offense didn't look great to start, and or loses. That sets up in the worst way possible. But I think in terms of how you want to set up games, this Vanderbilt game couldn't have been better for Tennessee in terms of they did not start out like they had the last 2 SEC games. Not in the same manner. And then they didn't have the best. They shot well. I'm not discrediting what they did. They shot well. But they did not have the nights they've been having. They had to find some shots. They struggled a little bit. And then obviously won big. And then it worked out in terms of looking at the other team on Tuesday night. Kentucky not only sucked, but they sucked the whole way through and never could find a way to win. They couldn't do it.
Yeah. I mean, I thought Vanderbilt played pretty well. I know their starters weren't great. I think they only had 13 points. Their starting 5. But I think they had a good game plan. They wanted to get to the free throw line. They wanted to play big. And, they had Robbins just flopping everywhere. And he's a huge guy, so he's able to get the ball in the paint, but he was also able to hit free throws.
Speaking of him flopping, that one where he's under the basket, he misses, and Vescovi puts his arm in him like that. His arm is in him like that. He never extends, and they call the foul. You're taught to do that in basketball. Yeah. You cannot call a foul if you don't see the arm extend there. That's pitiful. He just jumps and loses all control of his body because I guess he's a baby giraffe mode like John Fulgerson. That's never a foul. Speaking of him flopping, sorry. That pissed me off to no end.
Yeah, I mean, he had 18 points. He was averaging 13. But he didn't even start. That's weird to me, like their best player doesn't start, but especially in a post. That
is very strange.
Really unheard of. But and then they had a freshman who's averaging like 2 points he was 3 for 3 from 3 at one point, and they were like back to back to back. And then he cooled off, and it was an odd game, but like Tennessee was never really played bad. I feel like they tightened things up defensively for sure. They made some adjustments. I mentioned Vanderbilt wanted to play big. Tennessee went small in the second half, and I think kind of wore down Vanderbilt and made them play smaller.
Mm-hmm.
And as soon as Tennessee went on that 9-0 run to start the second half, it was over. Like it never got close enough where you had to worry. We ended up winning by 9.
In the end of the first half,
kind of stayed that same spot throughout the entire second half.
Right. In the end of that first half, I would say is the only time in the game that I thought Tennessee struggled. I thought there were some times Vanderbilt played good, gave Tennessee some trouble, especially on Tennessee's offensive end, Vanderbilt's defensive end in the first half, I thought. But I never felt like Tennessee wasn't in control of the game. Even when they lost the lead there at the end of the half, it just felt like, not that you had lost control, but you can't let that stuff up. Like that can't be what happens. They felt like they started to struggle, and then I guess they get an earful in the locker room about the defense just wasn't great in the first half. And you mentioned it, some shots fell early and not like they normally do against Tennessee, but there was still some stuff, like you mentioned, down low, especially that Tennessee just did not look good in the first half and really tightened things up in the second. And I think Kentucky's not come out of the gate strong much this season. So I think getting out early and not letting those first half struggles happen is going to be big. And that has been something that Tennessee struggled with, not in SEC play this year, but this year is the first half.
Yeah, but this team is they're vets. So even though they're down, and I would say Vanderbilt had the momentum going into the half. You know, you go up on the number 5 team in the country on the road. You know, the momentum's on your side, but this team comes out and goes on a 9-0 run. I think a 14-2 run was what it ended up to be. But, you know, that's just who they didn't, you know. They're down. Yeah, they're down 2 points. You know, what's 2 points? Vescovi come out there and just drained a 3.
And the youngest, if you want to call him immature in the sense that he's the youngest guy on your team, too. You mentioned being vets. He led all scorers. Well, him and Vescovi led all scorers.
Yeah. With and very identical stat lines, pretty unreal. 15 points, 6 rebounds, 3 assists, both 6 and 9 from the floor. Nice. But yeah, that was. I don't think you'll ever see that again. That's a pretty crazy stat line there.
No, for sure. And Julian Phillips, he's a guy.
He's finding his own again.
He can get to the hole, and I love that about him.
And he's so long and athletic when he gets out in transition, it's scary.
Well, we talked about Arizona being lengthy, the team that Tennessee's obviously played this year. It's Tennessee is deceptively long because you have guys. Like Josiah Jordan-James obviously long. Julian Phillips, you mentioned, he's long. Obviously, your bigs, Kumwa and Plavsic are both long. But then Vescovi plays long and Zakaya plays long. Like they are deceptively 5 deep long. And it's smothering defense. We actually have a question about this, so I guess we can go ahead and ask that. Let me get it pulled up. I didn't look up the stats. I probably should have. But it says, is this the best defense team Barnes has ever had, even better than the Grant Admiral teams? I think so. That's not me. It's a question asker. What about you? I think statistically they are right now. But I would say 1 through 5, 100%.
Yeah, we're just super athletic. At every position, we're athletic. Even our bigs that, you would think would lose some athleticism, they can all run the floor. Even Urosh runs the floor well.
Speaking of ovations, I got to stand up for Urosh. Had 6 rebounds. That's more than Zakaya. Stand up. He is playing physical basketball right now. That's what we need from him. I don't care if you're I think he only had 1 foul. I don't know how. I don't care if you're getting fouls in the game. You got to earn them sometimes. Urosh Plavsic, I'm telling you, man, I swear Urosh listens to the podcast because every game we criticize him and he comes out and does exactly what we said. So either we're telling with Barnes or he's listening. Urosh, if you are listening, you're good. You're not good enough. Go take it to Cal in Kentucky. I want Cal pitching a baby-ass fit on the sideline because you pushed Shebway harder than he'd like you to.
Shebway is going to hate Urosh on Saturday.
Urosh might get a technical on Saturday.
Oh, 100%. But Shebway might get one too. Also, I don't think Kentucky has that strength coach to try to intimidate Zakai Ziegler.
I forgot about that. Well, they might not have him. It might be an unpaid guy now. Apparently, they got grad assistants scouting, so that strength coach might just be a grad assistant.
Oh,
yeah. Cal's having to cut budget since he gets paid so much.
Yeah. You got a question? Chances Urosh throws a punch. 50-50 maybe.
It's not a non-zero chance. I know that.
Yeah, no, 100%. Yeah, I just like the way this seems. You mentioned Urosh. He was just efficient. He played 15 minutes and had 11 points and 6 rebounds. That's all we need, man. That's it.
We don't even need that much in terms.
Get
of
under the basket, do your little sky hooks right over the rim. And
he's dunking too. Don't hate.
He can
don't hate my boy Roche.
He's got some athleticism. Just be efficient, man.
He's got to wear that black arm. He's got to wear that black armband.
Be big.
Game.
You are big. Be big.
He is big. He's a huge dude.
They hired Purdue's guy. Oh God, was it that guy who hit 83s on Tennessee?
I saw in.
It's always a white guy from Purdue.
Bracketology has Tennessee and Purdue in the same region right now.
You thinking Nebraska and Iowa is the whitest team. Purdue's pretty up there.
Well, they are from Indiana.
Well, I know, but they always have a white guy.
They're the public Notre Dame.
AY guy.
Actually, I think Purdue's private.
Zach Edey, he's like, I mean, he's Vacatus from what's that?
Tropical. God bless the tropics. Flint Tropics.
Flint Tropics. Yeah. What was
Jesus Christ? Why can I? This is stupid that I can't think of this. This is
Semi-pro.
Semi-pro.
Yeah. Zach Edey is Vacatus from Semi-Pro. I mean, 7'4". That's stupid. How? How do you even get that size?
You see that 6'11" kid from North Dakota State and just hoop?
Yeah, what?
I don't know. He can hoop though.
Yeah, I hate that. I wish I was taller.
Big game. We need a big game from Josiah Jordan James too. Not his best night against Vanderbilt. Not his worst though. But when he's in the game, I know he didn't play a ton, but you need him to impact in every single facet of the game. You don't necessarily need him just scoring points. He's your guy that gets rebounds, assists, steals. He can make blocks. Speaking of that, Urosh got another block. No, he didn't get a block. I thought he did on Tuesday. But he did.
Yeah, Tennessee did play smaller, so I think that's why Waka didn't play that much. I don't think he had a single stat. I didn't think he played. I don't ever remember really seeing him. But
I didn't remember him getting in the game.
2 minutes.
Yeah, but I saw it obviously in the stat line.
But yeah, just having Josiah back and be able to play smaller, minutes are going to get cut. I mean, that's just part of it. But
yeah, and I think Toby Awaka too, his role on this team is very much going to be bigs in foul trouble. We need a physical presence. That's when he's going to come in. And it's never going to be a lot of minutes because his job's kind of to go in there and bounce around, which means probably fouls. So he's never going to be in for a ton of minutes. But you are going to need him throughout the season. I mean, you didn't just need him against – your other bigs played really well. So.
And they're going to force – I think they go small against Kentucky because, hey, Sheboy's going to have to guard somebody. I would make him guard Josiah or Julian or Olivier, somebody with some length that, he's going to be matched up with. Can he defend? Can he step out on the perimeter and defend somebody? Can he get in the pick and roll and defend somebody? My guess is no. I mean, there was a reason why Tennessee won twice last year, or 3 times.
Yeah, I'll say no.
Did we win twice or 3 times?
Twice.
Okay.
We lost at Rupp, didn't we?
Yeah, I think we got killed at Rupp, right?
Yeah. Wasn't that the 100-point game?
Yeah.
107 it was a blowout. Which I meant to look it up.
Yeah,
that's
good,
the first
good luck
time
staying with Zakai off a screen.
No, I'm with you. Chances are no in that situation. But I mean, yeah, I think Tennessee can definitely take advantage playing small. Sheboy's really good. I think if you have Urosh and Adu on their game, I think they can give Sheboy trouble. I think Sheboy probably wins the battle when we're talking just down low. I mean, that's he's really good, but I think they can get the better of him at times. I do.
Well, and they've always let one guy's getting theirs. Rodman's against Vanderbilt. He got his, but it's
not
everybody
enough.
else. Yeah, it's not enough. So, and I just don't know. I know Cason Wallace is, a really talented freshman, but they just haven't put it together, and it's weird that we're this far into the season. They're still having some. You see at the beginning of the season with Kentucky.
It looks like Kentucky normally game 1.
Yeah.
That's what it looks like right now, and it's very
weird. They're not made up of freshmen, really, either. I mean,
and they didn't.
Cason Wallace, I think Ware is also a young guy, but Severe Wheeler and Oscar Sheboy are their team, and they're vets. So it's a whole nother issue with it's not just 5 freshmen that are figuring it out anymore. I mean, this team has some issues.
Oh, 100%. It's very strange that it's happened, and
they'll figure it out against Tennessee because they always do.
That's how it goes. Hey, and credit to Thompson Bowling Arena. The 9 p.m. tip-off. Students aren't on campus. I'm not saying it was Thompson Bowling at its best on Tuesday night, but it was pretty darn good, and I expect it to be at its best on Saturday. It also pisses me off. I think one of the tickets I got offered was 4 seats, which stings even more. And then I got another ticket offered to me, and I couldn't go Tuesday night, and I'm really, really upset about it. Anyway, I digress, because that would have been a fun game to be at. But no, I expect Thompson Bowling to be at its best. Even we mentioned it, Sheba probably gets his. He probably has around 16 points, but I don't think it's going to be enough. And I don't see Tennessee struggling at the guard position. That's another thing about Tennessee's defense. I mentioned 1 through 5 in being just good, and I don't think 1 through 5 was necessarily that good with Admiral and Grant. Not that they were bad, but Tennessee's guard situation in terms of defense and offense, but especially defense, is elevated. I don't think it's calculable how much better the defense is at the guard position. I don't know if there's guards on Kentucky's offense that can just take Tennessee for 40 minutes.
Yeah, 100. I mean, you have two guys that are playing their best basketball right now. And Zakai, who is not being counted on to score a whole bunch of points because he's getting everybody open. You know, he's had 40 or 30 assists in the last 4 games in SEC play. Vescovi is shooting 48% from 3 in the last 4 SEC games. So, you know, these guys are playing really good basketball right now. And, you know, I just think that the offense is rolling. I know Vanderbilt was just it was kind of weird. Like, if you saw that score, you're thinking, oh, Tennessee struggled offensively. They really didn't. It was more they did have some turnovers, but shooting the basketball wasn't an issue.
No, it wasn't bad. And when they did miss, I thought for the most part it boiled down to, outside of maybe Josiah Jordan James, who just seemed to literally drop the ball in the hoop. I mean, one time it bounced around the rim 6 times. I thought the shot selection when they missed wasn't great most of the time. Listen, I love Santiago Vescovi and his newly found accent, but that one he shot from deep because I guess he thought it was late in the shot clock. I mean, it was late, but you had time to at least get a better shot. Example of just, I thought, some poor shot selection.
Yeah, but they're playing really good basketball right now. Julian Phillips has played well. I thought Tyreek Key, you know, hit some shots the other night. That's something that we've been waiting on seeing. So, yeah, the offense is coming along, and I think the defense is always going to be there. You know, they made some second-half adjustments against Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt kind of cooled off a little bit too, and it was kind of over in the second half. So, hopefully they're able to keep that momentum up. I'd love a game like South Carolina where we just freaking dominate them.
I don't know if I could take it.
Go up 20 in the first half and you know, just cruise to a victory. That'd be nice, you know.
It would be good, and I am a little concerned that Cal may have a heart attack before the end of the season. Did you see him Tuesday night?
He can pull an Urban Meyer and say he's stepping away from basketball
he
due
might
to health issues.
He might just do that. Yeah.
This school is such a basketball school that I can't take it anymore.
Kentucky's such a basketball school?
Yeah, he can't take it anymore. Like, it's just too much.
Kentucky as a whole sucks. I'm sorry, Austin. They're just the worst.
They are.
The worst. Also,
like, are they not kind of riding a high? I mean, their team just won a national championship in football, so.
Yeah, it's tough, man. That 2-day turnover, the 1-day turnover really is tough.
I mean, they just became Georgia fans last year. They had a whole year to enjoy it and, you know, still won a national title.
So no more Volcats, it's Dogcats? There can't be any Volcats left. The one Volcat I knew won't even admit he was a Volcat at one point.
I wonder how the Astros are doing too. You know, that's their Major League Baseball team.
Are the Astros the most insufferable? For me, it used to probably be the Yankees, if we're just being honest. But maybe when we were growing up, like when we got older, the Red Sox broke the curse. There were some insufferable, just Boston fans in general. But I think I think because it's not Astros fans that are insufferable, it's just the organization.
Yeah, they're just scumbags.
Yeah, exact scumbag behavior.
I can't wait to ask. Speaking of breaking news, Evan Russell, Tennessee legend, is coming on the pod on Sunday night. I can't wait. I'm going to ask him straight up who would win in a fight between him and Jose Altuve.
Wait, is that who? No, it was him and women UFC fighter. Wasn't it?
Oh,
Wasn't that who it was?
Ronda Rousey?
Ronda Rousey. Wasn't that the?
Oh, I guess I
question?
forgot about that. Yeah. I'm just going to
Okay.
ask him, like, that's one of the first things we're going to do is I'm just going to name off somebody and you tell me if you can beat them in a fight.
All right. Yeah. Also, I love Tony Vitello. Do not take this as slander. He doesn't look like a hooper. He looks.
He's got some style. He might be a get off the bus guy.
I think he looks like a baseball manager way more than a hooper. He picked the right profession.
I bet he gets real mad during basketball.
Yeah. No.
Basketball is a frustrating sport.
I bet he
I
sets.
guess baseball is too, but
I bet he sets hard screens. He looked like that.
yeah.
And you turn around. You're playing men's league. You turn around. You're like, wait, what?
Yeah, I bet he's very physical and gets really upset when somebody calls their own foul.
I'd face guard and piss him off. For sure.
Man. Yeah.
Evan Russell, I'm glad you mentioned that. Excited to get him on the show.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
We're going to get to questions, unless you have anything else for this. I mean, I guess we can.
Yeah, that's kind of all I got. I mean, besides Jordan James, I do want to mention that, he did have 7 points the other night, but didn't really impact the game through rebounds and assists, which I just think that's uncharacteristic of him. So I'd like to see, more of that, just impacting the game in different ways.
Yeah, absolutely. Before I look, because I looked in the middle of the game, or before I say this, I'm going to double check. Because last year, both of us, especially Landon, really got on to Tennessee's free throw shooting. They missed one on Tuesday night. And I think on the season, it's been really good too. I'm going to double check that. Also, Tennessee almost passed Houston in the Kim Palm. They're number 2 in the Kim Palm. They almost passed Houston, who's number 1, which is maybe, I mean, obviously that's doesn't win a championship, but it'd be nice to have that.
The Alabama-Tennessee game is going to be electric.
Oh, yeah. It's kind of fun that Tennessee and Alabama have never been rivals in
I feel like we always play at Alabama until this year. I feel like it's always at Alabama.
It does feel like it's always at Alabama. 72% from the line. That's not phenomenal, but that's not as bad as I feel like it normally is.
Yeah.
So.
Hey, games like that the other night, that's what boosts that up some. So.
Oh, for sure.
Keep building on it.
For sure. Let's get into questions. Before we do that, Landon's going to talk about our good friends at Underdog.
Yeah, I am.
Good guys. And I want to mention before he gets to that, Ham and Goodies. Shout out to them again. Always taking care of the pod. Friends of the pod. Always taking care of us at the tailgate, which me and Landon have already started prepping for next year. No big deal. Shout out to us. But shout out to Ham and Goodies for always giving us them tasty desserts.
If you're not prepared, you're behind.
Exactly.
Yeah, our good friends at Underdog. Underdog is Knoxville's best sports collectible store with a wide selection of UT cards, autographs, and memorabilia. Whether you're looking for a Peyton Manning autograph helmet or the most recent Topps baseball card or an autograph from Maui Ahuna on Saturday, you'll find it at Underdog. The shop is owned by UT grads and proudly supports UT sports by hosting NIL events like Saturday throughout the year. Stop by the University Commons Shopping Center next to Publix and Domino's to check them out. Open 6 days a week with live YouTube shows, 3 nights a week. Remember, always bet the Underdog. Love those guys. Go check them out. And that's at 11. That event's at 11, so you got plenty of time. Go in, get an autograph, get a picture, get over to Thompson Bowling, and see Tennessee blow the doors off Kentucky.
Yeah. Before we get into questions, I do need to tell a story. I meant that this was my most important on Sunday.
Hey, speaking of tailgating, before you get into that, is Austin gonna tailgate with us?
No, he's a Circle Park guy. He's too good.
God, dude.
He's too good. He doesn't know what it's like to be from the south of the river, brother. He doesn't have a clue.
Gosh,
he would never
time,
know.
Man.
Circle Park.
That's nice. Good.
He booked us an Airbnb. I was told I had an Airbnb room or couch or something, air mattress, floor space in Lexington next year. So
he'll get us. He'll book that, but he won't come to the tailgate.
No. Well, that's not south. That's closer to Circle Park than the tailgate is.
Yeah, he doesn't want to.
Airbnb.
He doesn't want anything to rub off on him. He don't want to be too South Knoxville. Even though I know he was getting ice cream at that new South Knoxville place.
Oh, interesting. You can come to South Knoxville for some cream, but
yeah.
All right. Has he even been in your hot tub? Who is this guy?
I don't know. He just sold me the house and just dipped. He got out.
All right, my story.
Okay, go ahead.
My story. So this is my brother's wife that posted this on Facebook. Again, should have been my most important.
I love the way this
she
is
said
starting,
this morning
by the way. Just Facebook brother's wife. Go.
She said this morning their daughter came into our room chanting VOLS, go Vols, go. And she said, I wasn't sure whether to be proud of her or mad. And then I realized it was 2 a.m. Happy Friday, y'all. Which is, by the way, the most Caleb Mitchell move of all time. If you know me, my football season alarm is Rocky Top. So my brother is training his daughter well. Austin, maybe if Kentucky fans would do that with their kids, maybe y'all could compete with Tennessee. Yeah. But until then,
you just don't want it bad enough.
Austin did throw his kid in the Kentucky shirt on picture day, which is that household divided. That's a solid move.
Yeah, that's a dad move.
Solid move. But yeah, I'm very proud of my niece. Next great Vol fan.
Love that. Segments. Oh, we got the national championship.
Wait.
Yeah. I mean, what national championship, really? I mean, that was pretty miserable. It was a good thing we got to go to bed early.
If I hadn't bet on it, I wouldn't have watched the whole thing. But I bet on the over, and I had to see it hit. Yeah. Yep.
It wasn't $300.
I hate Georgia. It wasn't fun to watch.
Yeah, I mean, I hate Georgia too, but I'm also like happy I'm going to win money on them. Like if I'm going to have to go through that, I might as well just win some money doing it. So whatever.
Yep.
Last year it was 2 years ago. We did the Alabama where we all came over and bet, and we won a ton of money. Do you remember that?
I do. I actually tweeted about that. How you just bet on Bama that game, and hope they win you some money. So if they win, you're happy. If they lose, you're still happy.
Yeah. Yeah. Speaking of TCU being number 2 again, Kansas State got destroyed by Alabama.
Yeah, they did. That's why Nick Saban put him at number 2.
God.
He used transitive property to get there.
Yeah, there you go.
Except he forgot that he did lose to Tennessee and LSU. He's old, Landon. You got to give him a break. Alzheimer's is a tough disease.
Well, he did that thing where, if you like go through, like eventually you'll like ETSU ends up beating the national champion. That's what he was doing.
Not this year. Sorry, George. Not this year.
Yeah.
Ooh, man, dude, I'm part of ETSU. It's like the VFL page. They hate George Quarles.
Oh, wow.
It's bad. Which that athletic department has been. Sorry, can't find a better phrase for it, a shit show this past year.
You got some questions?
Yes, we do.
I have one question from Twitter.
Okay.
It says, are we expecting any DBs to commit to Tennessee in the portal? I haven't heard of any. Maybe that's something they address in the spring. If they lose some people, maybe you go get somebody. But to this point, they haven't really offered anybody that I've seen that's a defensive back. Right. You get Warren Burrell back. You get basically everybody back besides Trayvon Flowers.
There's definitely some need there, but you bring back experience.
Yeah, you just got to be better. I guess I don't know. That's the only Twitter question I had.
Okay. I've got 2. They really aren't important, but we're late on a Thursday night. It's getting dicey in here. This one is: would you trade TCU's run to the Natty for Tennessee's 2023 season? You obviously get to the playoff, you get to the championship, you get slaughtered. I wouldn't either, man. Like no one's gonna let TCU live that down unless they somehow win next year.
Yeah,
you're not living that down. Like you have to win the very next season. You can't win.
Yeah, but everybody always remembers your last game.
Yeah, that was
that's.
And at Tennessee, you played in like the Gator Bowl or something, and I'd probably say yeah. But
really, looking at the whole thing, like Tennessee was just as close as winning a national championship than TCU was.
There are about 35 teams in college football that were about as close as them. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I just, unless it was winning the Orange Bowl is a big deal. I know a lot of people want it in the playoff time. They don't want to admit that, but it is. And you beat Clemson, ACC champion. I'm not mad with. I'm frustrated the way South Carolina went and where you could have been, but I'm not totally pissed off with the way the season ended.
Yeah, because I don't think anybody was beating Georgia. The only way Georgia was losing if they ended up losing to Ohio State that night.
Yeah.
And they found a way, and that was –
Which, again, I know Michigan beat Ohio State, but you ranked Alabama ahead of Tennessee, so you obviously don't care. Ohio State is the only team in the country that gave Georgia they were throwing punches at Georgia. They're the only team. Because they didn't play good against Missouri. They didn't play good against Kent State. Those teams weren't really throwing punches.
No.
They were just hanging around.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, when Georgia wants to turn it on, they're hard to beat.
Oh, for sure. And they do it with freaking
and also
they
underdogs of the year, right? I mean,
dude,
all those
7-5.
There was one guy that literally said he thought we were going to go 6-5. They literally thought they weren't even going to play a game.
Well, weather,
COVID.
You never know.
Maybe they just canceled the cocktail party.
Well, I don't remember, and I probably did call them stupid, but I guess there were 2 guys at SEC Media Days that did predict that. 2 guys. 2 idiots. Known idiots. They showed the world. I know everyone called them idiots if they publicly said that. Everyone knew Georgia was going to be good this year. There was 0 doubt about them being a contender. 0 doubt.
Right. Did we think they would go back-to-back? Probably not, but I mean, who has?
And Pat McAfee said they barely talked about Georgia this year. Brother, you all went there. You went to Athens.
Yeah.
You had an entire show dedicated to Georgia. What are we talking about?
Yeah,
I love Pat McAfee, but what are we talking about?
7-5. Did you see their schedule?
If they went 7-5, their plane crashed on the way back from Oregon.
Kirby Smart
on the way back from Atlanta.
They went 7-5 with that schedule.
I mean, that's just what an insane thought to have. They were eating chicken wings on the sideline of the national championship game. No one thought they were going 7-5.
Like the second quarter. Like it was over.
Which, credit to Kirby Smart, greatest salesman of all time. If he convinced a single person in Georgia's locker room that people said they were going 7-5. Greatest salesman of all time.
55 stars. Hey, y'all are going 7-5.
This guy said you're going 7-5. Someone from the Columbia Chronicle in Missouri said you're going 7-5. The whole media is thinking it.
Yeah. Unreal. I didn't think they were going to be as good as they were with the people that they lost, but there ain't no way I was predicting 7-5.
No, absolutely not.
And
absolutely not.
Going into the season, I knew Tennessee was going to lose 31-14 or whatever it was, I'd take that all day.
No.
Now, looking back on the season, you're like, man, I wish we could have beat them, but I didn't think we'd even have a shot at beating Georgia.
Well, it's like the 11-2 thing. You get told that, and you're real happy, and then they tell you it's to South Carolina, and you're like, mother.
God dang it, Shane Beamer. But yeah, 7-5, man.
This one I have maybe kind of a hot take. Which school has the cutest live mascot? I'm gonna say outside of Smokey because Smokey's number 1. I'll give you a close second. It's the Bison from Colorado. That dude's, I think it's a girl. Cute as hell. I love bison. They're the coolest animals of all time. Not buffalo, bison. You have one. You have one that you feel close to.
Man.
It's Ralphie, by the way. Ralphie, the bison. They say buffalo because they're the buffalo. Ralphie's not a buffalo. He's a bison. She's a bison. Whatever.
That's a fail, right? That's wrong.
Yeah.
Are we talking live?
Live mascot. So like Smokey, like the ugliest one, Ugga. Mike's pretty cool, but I don't know if I'd say cute.
Yeah.
He's also scared. We kind of proved that in Baton Rouge. He wouldn't. Some guy said they stopped bringing him out a long time ago. Some guy was like, they try to get him to run out with the team, but if he doesn't feel like it, they just leave him. I'm like, I don't think that's true, but also that'd be kind of deflating if you're like, yeah, the live mascot couldn't even get up for this game.
Yeah. Man.
We couldn't even get a big enough stake to get him in the cage.
Is it Bevo?
I don't know if Bevo's cute. I will
I don't think
say,
he is either, but I do like the colors on Bevo, like the spots. That looks pretty cool.
I'm not a big fan of bulldogs, but Butler's bulldog, he pukes on the court. That's cute as hell.
Puke is cute.
Like a bulldog puking, yeah.
Put that on a shirt.
Puke is cute. Women are gonna love that. Picture of a bulldog throwing up. They're gonna love that. Eat that up. Literally. Another cute one, Texas A&M. I can't remember the name. It's a collie. I don't know what that has to do with A&M.
The Lassie looking dog.
Yeah, that's a good one. This isn't cute, but Auburn has the bald eagle. That's pretty freaking sweet.
It's also, I don't know the backstory on Auburn and why it's War Eagle, but you're also the Tigers.
Is dumb.
Like, that is really dumb.
It's dumb. And I think you asked me that question, like the name the 5 schools in FBS with the Tigers name. I'd completely forgotten about Auburn because how could you?
War Eagle.
Yeah.
Does Alabama have a live elephant? Surely
they do not. Southern Methodist apparently had a Mustang. That doesn't look current. Arkansas has a pig. That's kind of cool. Not cute.
I saw pigs in Arizona. They call them skunk pigs.
Skunk pigs? What?
Yeah.
Oh, Navy has a goat. That's cute.
Is it a fainting goat? Is it a baby goat?
I hope it's not fainting.
Just regular goats are not cute.
Houston has a cougar? No way.
That wins.
That's not cute. That's not cute. That's badass. That's
live cougar in the car.
There's no way. Okay. It doesn't look like anymore. Apparently they have.
God, I bet Ross Kivett is living it up with that cougar.
Oh my God, they do have one. Shasta the 6th.
Shasta. I'm gonna text Ross Kivett and ask him. Hey man, get a picture with Shasta.
Yeah, that's insane.
Does Cal have a bear?
I think they used to. I think they did.
They
don't. Cool. I think they kept it on a leash.
You know, it also would be really funny if Stanford had a tree that they had on a leash or something like that. That would be cool.
That would be. Someone has a. Washington has a husky. That's pretty cute. Oh, this might be because I'm a Cherokee. Go Keys. The coolest one is probably the Florida States.
Not Oklahoma when the thing crashes.
I do love
the wagon
that.
crashes.
You know who we forgot? Sir Big Spur, the Gamecocks mascot.
Yeah, that's not cute.
Also, that's a ripoff of Charlotte's Sir Purr. What are we doing?
Sir Purr is pretty cool. That's pretty cool.
Sir Purr, but he's not alive, but that is cool.
Yeah.
Temple has an owl. That's very strange, but Air Force has a falcon.
That's pretty badass.
That is pretty cool. North Alabama has lions? What? The world of live mascots is fascinating.
Plural?
I should have done a study. Yes, 2 lions, Leo and Una. 2. That is insane. I don't think I mentioned. Oh, East State has a husky too. That's cute. Ralphie. I love bison. I'm going Ralphie.
Yeah, I think a bear one would be really cool. We did get to see Mike. We didn't get to see Mike the Tiger, but we got to see his exhibit.
Yeah, he was scared.
He was a chicken ass. Which now I get it. He was scared.
Oh yeah, I wouldn't have came out either. Balls. Yeah, I wouldn't have came out either. My last one, this is a question for you because, as you know, I'm not a baseball guy. Never claimed to be, just like cheering for the team. Is there a predicted starting lineup for Vol baseball? You got one. I know there's some questions, but there are some maybe more sure's.
Yeah, I think outfield's going to be there's going to be competition.
Mm-hmm.
I think Griffin Merritt is in the outfield somewhere. I would say Kyle Booker will also be in the outfield.
Who's replacing Jordan Beck? Who's that going to be?
It might be Griffin Merritt. That dude
might be Griffin.
Hit 19 home runs last year for Cincinnati.
He played center field at Cincinnati, right?
I think he'll be a corner outfielder. I think that's where.
Is that accurate though, or no?
I think he was a corner outfielder at Cincinnati too.
Gotcha.
Because shout out Eric Kane, who's from the pod. He did a interview with Griffin Merritt recently. I think it was released today. but he kind of talks about how he's working on his defense. Like he's always been able to hit, but his defense is where he really wants to get better at. So I just have a hard time if he's saying that he's your center fielder.
Right.
Kyle Booker.
I think I'll watch so many home runs on his highlight tape go deep to center. Maybe it all kind of.
Yeah. And then Kavaris Tears had a really good game against Memphis. He could be one. They also got some newcomers coming in that could maybe take one of those spots. Jared Dickey will be your catcher. First base will be Blake Berg. Second will be Christian Moore. Shortstop will be Maui Ahuna. And third base will be probably Zane Denton.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, there are some more sure's, it seems. We've heard a lot of those names, but
if I had to put money, that would be my starting.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, that can change.
I like Kyle Booker. I hope we see more of him.
Yeah.
I hope we do. That catch he had, was that Kyle Booker? No, it was Christian Scott, that catch against Florida, right?
Yeah, Christian Scott's another guy who could maybe, be in the running for one of those positions. He can play center field.
Mm. Yeah. All right.
They got a freshman. I can't remember what his name is. If I saw his face in front of me, I would know it. But he's a guy who's had a really good offseason, and I expect him to have an impact, kind of like Christian Moore and Blake Burke had last year.
Mm-hmm.
DH, Logan Chambers, maybe. He's a guy that they recruited out of junior college to hit. And I think he had a really good offseason there. So hopefully he can, take that next step.
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
A lot of lefties.
I did want to mention, too, before we get into stupidity, Candace Parker's on Jeopardy tonight. It aired at 8. So I'm interested to see that. A little VFL. And she's playing for Mamba and Mambacita. What's their charity called? Kobe Bryant and his wife's. Is it just Mamba and Mambacita Academy? Is that what it is?
Yeah, maybe.
That's who she's playing for, though.
Okay, that's cool.
I just banged my knee on the desk. God dang it.
Stupidity.
And my leg. Stupidity. My first one goes out to the great state and school of Florida. Go Gators. The 2023 commit, Jalen Rashada, he is just helping the world remember that there is NIL. There's also NLI. There is a difference, and he keeps us on our toes by requesting a release from NLI because of NIL.
Nice.
Yeah. Which may not be true, which is crazier, but sounds like it sort of promised too much.
Yeah, something's up there. That's not a good
bounce.
situation to be in. Yeah.
Shout out to the Vol Club.
Couldn't be us.
Yeah, shout out. Apparently it was $13 million, by the way. That's the rumored total. I think that came from the Orlando newspaper. $13 million. Of course they weren't going to pay that. What are we talking about?
Yeah. My first one, now that college football is over, is Desmond Howard's playoff projected playoff bracket from the beginning of the season. I've been saving this for a while. I just knew it was coming.
Well, you could have said it in like week 3, though.
Yeah, I know. But I wanted to wait until everything kind of settled. He did get one team right, and that was Michigan. But he also played there, so that was complete bias. And he picked them to go to the national championship and win, I think. That didn't happen. He picked Texas A&M, Pittsburgh, and Baylor.
That's just so bad. That's inexcusably bad. I wish he'd come out in week 2 and be like, no, I was just kidding. I did that for clicks. Let me give you the real one. Because there's no way anyone actually believed that.
Yeah.
That's absurd.
I mean, Baylor didn't – I don't know where they finished at. I'm going to look that
Not
up.
good. Not good.
Yeah, I mean, they didn't make it – neither one of those teams made it to their conference championship. Texas A&M didn't even make a bowl game.
They almost beat TCU,
Baylor,
right?
Baylor went 6-7, so they had a losing record.
They almost beat TCU.
Yeah. We were in South Carolina for that week, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, we were, because I was like I did say after it was TCU almost got upset, and then who else almost got upset?
Was it Oregon or USC or was it a
It
pack?
would have probably been USC, and they escaped.
No, it was Ohio State.
Ohio State. No, yes, Ohio State almost got upset, and I said this is the upset week, and no upsets have happened. I just didn't know it was going to be an absolute waxing.
Yeah, it was bad.
9-9. 9-9.
Also, my next one is Georgia and they're if they're going to try to sell that underdog thing with the schedule that they have next year is even worse than the one they had this year. UT Martin, Ball State, South Carolina, UAB, at Auburn, Kentucky, at Vanderbilt, Florida, which is neutral site, Missouri, Ole Miss, at Tennessee, at Georgia Tech.
Their toughest games at Tennessee. I mean, it is.
Yeah, and it's
Not
not
far.
not even close.
Shout out Weigels.
I mean, what in the world?
Yeah, the underdog thing is hilariously bad.
If you project them to go 7-5, they did crash a plane, and that conspiracy needs to be in play there.
If you believe that, though, like if you're in Georgia's locker room, you believe that. I'm sorry, I hate to be mean. You're an idiot. Like if you believed people actually thought that, genuinely thought that, you're an idiot. Because the people that put it out there did it for clicks. Like it's just not real. It was never real.
Yeah, unreal.
Incredibly dumb. Oh, listen, I didn't think they would be as good as they were this year. I didn't think they were close to 7-5.
Yep. They had 68
Austin,
blue
they had a
chips,
chance to win
which
3-0.
means 4 and 5 star players. They had 68 on their roster.
I mean, you saw it when they late in the game. They were running the ball down, which I love that. They're running the ball down TCU's throat. I mean, pretty much exclusively inside the tackles. And we heard how if Georgia had wanted to blow us out, they would have. Well, you did the same thing you did with TCU against us, and you didn't blow us out, like especially like that. So, I mean, maybe you couldn't have done whatever you wanted to.
Right. Also got one more, and it is.
I have a question for Austin.
Okay.
Was Pal Golf formerly a Jordan school, and what are they going to be now? Can we get breaking news? I saw that on TikTok, and I'm really curious. You can go ahead and go. I think it'll take a minute.
A Big Game Boomer said which shout out Big Game Boomer for voting us the best Twitter account for the football season. I
You can still
appreciate it.
stupid takes though.
Yeah, you can. I mean, we've done it. We've had stupid takes, but this is theirs. The Big 12 is the best conference in college basketball, and it's not even up for debate. The worst team in the Big 12 could beat the best team in the SEC. Well, the best team in the SEC beat the best team in the Big 12, so that is irrelevant.
Yeah, yeah, it is. And listen, if you want to say the worst team in the Big 12 could beat, not like would in the sense that he meant it, he meant like the SEC is far inferior to the Big 12, which is just a bad take considering there is an SEC team that not only beat the best Big 12 team, but also the defending national champion by 14, not by 2, not by a possession, by 14.
Yeah, it's also this also kind of has to do with.
Yeah, Austin, BSN Sports sucks. There's one guy in particular I would shout him out on here, but he has a relationship with some people I still know, and I'm not going to throw them under the bus. But that one guy at BSN sucks. BSN sucks. Inward Half. I'm thinking about buying that Tennessee polo from Inward Half. Good stuff over there. I actually know a guy that's involved with Inward Half. Good guy.
Okay. I don't know what that is, but
I'm down. It's a golf brand. I think it's local.
Okay.
So I do want to give a shout out to the best golf brand, Hackers. Shout out Zach Winkle, Matt Cunningham, good dudes too.
Dr. SEC said before you judge TCU, Georgia did this to Oregon, LSU, Tennessee, etc. These dogs came to hunt. That national championship was not the same game against Tennessee. Not even.
No. If you say that, you don't watch football. I'm sorry, you don't. You don't know football. You don't watch football. You're not a football guy.
It's just like Dave Doran. He doesn't know football.
No, not Lance or Butch Jones. Butch Jones obviously doesn't know football.
If you put Tennessee at 7 or 8, you don't deserve to be a college football coach ever.
No, absolutely.
Yeah, at any level.
Absolutely not.
That's all I got. I'm done. I'm tired.
All right, done venting. Austin gave me an all caps, or not all caps, bunch of exclamation points, Hackers Club. I want Landon and Austin paired up for the Hackers Club next year. A little 2-man Scottish lowball.
I can't.
You're gonna when you said you were gonna start playing.
I've
When are you gonna
networking
start?
to do.
When are you gonna start playing?
When I win the lottery.
Just start playing now. You've had many people offer you clubs. That's the most expensive part. I know a guy that'll probably get you on the course for free all the time.
I'm just bad.
Yeah, you are. Everyone's bad when they start. You've never played.
Well, I feel like everybody's bad. Like that I would play with, everybody's bad, but I would be like hot garbage.
For the first little while, you got to play. You got to play.
I refuse to play any sport that Dylan might be better than me at, and that is one.
Well, if you never play, he'll always be better than you.
Well, I don't play, so he's not better than me.
He is better than you. He's going to be – see, you're going to go to Topgolf with him, and he's going to embarrass you because you won't play.
Yeah,
All right, guys. That's all I've got. It's been fun. We will see you on Sunday. Trying to think what day it is.
Yeah. See you on Sunday. Evan Russell will be on the pod, so
right.
be back for that. Go Vols. Calipari sucks. And we're bringing the boat in, and we out.